Welcome, Bitcoin fam, to the #1 Bitcoin pod. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest Bitcoin technical analysis, as well as breaking news. Tether just sent 18,812 Bitcoin worth almost $2 billion to Jack Mallers' 21 Capital. Also breaking news, Norwegian Black Exchange becomes the first publicly traded Bitcoin treasury company in the country. Also, I'll give you some insights surrounding Max Kaiser's thoughts on strategy and these Bitcoin treasury plays, which are being birthed left and right. We'll also be discussing Silk Road founders' 300 Bitcoin payday, unlikely a self-donation, according to some insights. We'll also be discussing Metaplanet becomes the 8th largest Bitcoin holder with $118 million buy. And speaking of new buys, strategy ends May with another 75 million Bitcoin purchase as the price tumbles to 103. Also breaking news, Russia's largest bank, Sberbank, launches structured bonds tied to Bitcoin. We'll also be discussing Tom Lee of Fundstrat says Bitcoin could hit 3 million, his long-term target. He also ups his short-term target of 250 before the end of this year in 2025, as per his latest interview on CNBC. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. If you're new to the channel, very important, smash the likes, go ahead, subscribe, then ring the bell. Turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, 7 days a week, just like this. Today is pod episode 2010. I'm your host, JV. Very significant day in my life is June 2nd. That's my pops, who is in heaven. That's his birthday today. So very significant day for my household, but nonetheless, we do have a lot to share. Let's kick it off with our market watch, as we do each and every day, pulling up Coin 360. Preload Biddy had a bit of a correction. You should be able to see here on your screen, down 0.3% on the day. Hopefully it resumes our next leg up here as we're in June, and we put a bow on May. And the silver lining, May was the highest monthly Bitcoin close since the inception of the Genesis block. So game on. Also, we hit a new hash rate all-time high. Price typically follows the hash rate. It's a precursor. So there is a lot of bullish technicals out there we'll be diving into a little later. Looking at Ether in the green today, XRP, Hype, XMR, which is Monero, Cardano, but very modest gains across the board as the king is correcting. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. The current crypto market cap sits at 3.27 trillion. The all-time high is 3.75 trillion, so we're about a half a trillion away from there. The Bitcoin market cap today, $2.083 trillion. And checking out, we got quite a bit of a volume, over 100 billion today. Bitcoin dominance 63.4%, Ether dominance 9.4%. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours, we got Monero leading the pack, up 8%, Hyperliquid up 7%, probably because of that trader James Nguyen getting all that attention, and Sky up 5%. Let me know which alt, if any, you're bullish on for the bull. Holla at your motherfucking boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles, we get a visual perspective on the day. We do it for the NIP. And as you can see, holy moly, I'd say like 70-30 green over red on the day. And zooming out a bit for the monthly, 60-40 green over red. And zooming out for the yearly, unfortunately, I'd say 60-40 red over green. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index, today we're 64 greed, yesterday 56, last week 73, and last month a 65. And checking out the infamous time chain calendar, we have 150,456 blocks until the halving of 2028. We're currently on block number 899,544, which means we're most likely going to cross the 900,000 block milestone sometime this week, and we're fast approaching the million block milestone, which is mind-boggling. And as of today, you can exchange one fiat monopoly dollar for 954 sats. So pick up the sats, put down the gats, and pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man Sergio over at bitcoincaps.net. Cop yourself a custom President B exclusive with the El Salvador flag to match. And if you don't know, now you know. Let's continue with a little astrology for the baddies and for the broskies. We'll also pull up some of the live charts. Should be able to read here. Bitcoin price dips under 104, and we just reclaimed 105 at the time of the live stream. Baby. That's right. As we can see here, Bitcoin saw a retest of the 2024 high as the June 2nd Wall Street open, as Russia-Ukraine tensions return to the market. Here you're looking at the 1 hour chart. And like I said, I'll pull up the live charts here shortly. Quoting the Kabisi letter, this is effectively the market pricing out the Russia-Ukraine peace deal that President Trump has been working on for the past 3 months. It wrote in the ongoing coverage, referring to Trump's aims to halt the conflict, quoting them here. However, we have yet to receive a single comment from the U.S. or President Trump. Clearly, something is going on behind the scenes. How will the U.S. respond? And here you're looking at the S&P 500, 1 hour chart, not looking so good. Markets look like they're struggling to me, with gold looking strong and tensions with Russia escalating lead me to suspect selling today on the cards and for the start of June. Now, trader Phil predicted the stock find fresh bullish momentum. Bitcoin would probably outperform as a result, adding that Bitcoin still looks bullish, of course, long term. Some traders shared the view amongst popular trader Jelly, who implied that the reactions to the current retest of the local lows were overly bearish, as he shared here. Bitcoin still hovering on top of the local support timeline, and especially my comment section seems filled with fear and giving up. Relax, broskies. And others complimented the May monthly candle close, which was the highest of all time. Very bullish, obviously, there. And Mustache shared, this is one of the most beautiful monthly closes you could wish for the biddy. That's right. We closed, I believe it was just shy of 105, the highest since the inception. Now, despite the volatility, Bitcoin continues to hover above 102, a testament to underlying support. Volatility on the front end has steadily compressed, and risk reversals have begun to normalize across the tenors, according to QCP, who said the signal's expectations for the muted price action are in the near term. QCP gave a 100-110 price corridor going forward in the absence of the further volatility catalyst, and Dan Crypto Trades looked to the previous monthly opening behavior for clues, quoting the analyst here. I think there's a good chance that the first week or so is likely a move that can be faded upon, seeing the first signs of the local reversal. If this is the case, I will stick with the trend for the remainder of the month. Now, Dan Crypto Trades expressed strong bias towards either direction for June as a whole. I want to know, are you bullish or bearish for the new month of June? Holla. Let me know. Past couple of months, very fortunately, we've closed in the green, very bullish momentum. And some of the big news before I pull up some of the live charts, this just in, Tether sends 18,812 Bitcoin worth almost $2 billion to Jack Mallers. 21 Capital, and if you didn't know, Jack Mallers' new Bitcoin treasury company, he's the CEO, it's backed by the likes of Tether, who's worth over $150 billion, and Cantor Fitzgerald, multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. And of course, Howard Lutnick's working alongside Trump. Couldn't get more bullish than that. So let's go. Also, check this. Norwegian Block Exchange becomes the first publicly traded Biddy treasury company in the country for, obviously, for the Norwegians there. So that's a pretty big deal. And then Max wrote here, the Bitcoin treasury plays are increasing demand for Bitcoin. So yeah, shout out Norway. But will they hodl through the downturn? So he seems to be skeptical about all of these new popping out Bitcoin treasury firms. He says, I only trust Sailor and Strategy not to panic sell. I don't assume the Sailor clones won't puke during the sell-offs, which mean expect them to dump. Portfolio Management 101, number 1. 100% self-custody. Bitcoin is the best position for nearly everyone. Number 2, don't sell, borrow against the biddy. Maintain margin under 15%. Might be suitable for some, and I'll add some context. If you don't have a healthy income, I don't suggest borrowing against your Bitcoin. If you're going to borrow against anything, make sure you're capable of paying it back. That's 101 borrowing, just FYI. And number 3, for experienced equity traders only, take a look at Strategy, formerly known as the MicroStrategy. Not for the noobs. And if you don't know now, you know, the High Priest has spoken. All right, so looking at TradingView via Coinbase, this is the 1 hour chart. There's a lot of action going on here. We do have a green target in play on the 1 hour, sitting at 109, an inverted head and shoulders. We also have a rising wedge formation, which is very bullish here, Monday, June 2nd. Again, this is live chart action. Jackson Satisfaction, Bo Jackson, Tony Braxton for the baddies. And checking out the 4 hour. The 4-hour, we got a particular green target as well, also a bullish pennant formation sensation lining up with the God candle, sitting at 116. Baby. Bullish pennant, 116.3 to be precise. Let me know when you feel we'll likely hit that. I love to see these bull scenarios on the lower time frames. And zooming out a bit further, let's take a look at the daily chart. And then we'll pull up the weekly and the monthly. The daily chart, as you can see, obviously we've had a corrective day. Not really much going on here on the daily, but hopefully we can flip back in the green as we just recaptured 105 here a few minutes ago and hovering near there. And checking out the weekly, we do still have a rising wedge. We still do have a 124 cup and handle target, which has been printed on this chart for 6+ months now. We do also have 7 stairways to heaven, green candle closes, finally got a corrective red yesterday after 7 weeks of bullish momentum. Will the bulls continue here for the month of June? You guys let me know. And zooming out a bit further, we take a quick look at a monthly, and the monthly says it's going up forever, Nippinator. That's right. We had big green candle close for the month of May and for the month of April, and hopefully we can continue the bullish momentum. But you guys let me know your thoughts. I'll read your comments out loud. Welcome in again, everyone, and let's freaking get it. Next up, here's a little insights. Yesterday we touched upon Silk Road founder auctioning items, raising 1.8 million, and then an anonymous 300 Bitcoin donation came through, worth 31 million, and they did a little examining here, Zach XBT, and because there's a lot of speculation that he just gift himself the 300 Bitcoin from one of his old original addresses. Well, let's dive a little deeper. Ross Ulbricht's recent receipt of the 300 Bitty is from questionable sources, but it is unlikely to be the case where he donated it to himself. My thinking is, why, if he did allegedly send it to himself, why wouldn't he just keep it in the original wallet? Why even move it to the new wallet to receive donations, which is going to be scrutinized and studied by these online analysts in the first place? So for me, I mean, I was always a little skeptical that it was himself, but it was always in the back of the mind, obviously. I mean, it's a pretty significant donation. But Ulbricht, the infamous founder of the black market Silk Road, received 300 Bitcoin worth 31 million to his wallet that was soliciting donations, obviously the biggest donation by far. The funds came from wallets using a centralized mixing service called Jambler, which led some social media users to speculate without evidence that the funds could be Ulbricht's profits from the Silk Road, which he might have hidden away before he was nabbed by the authorities and sent to prison. However, Zach XBT said on a post that he was skeptical that this is the case because few entities regularly use Jambler in size, and he found a potential demix for the donation. He wrote, "It is likely it doesn't appear to be a self-donation as people were claiming, though it comes from a questionable source due to the flagged address. The latest Bitcoin donation came from wallets using Jambler mixing service, but not normal privacy enthusiasts use the centralized mixers." And he shares the update here on X. Now, he also said one of the addresses involved have exchange activity dating back to the late 2014, while another was active in 2019 when he was allegedly in prison. So hence, how could it be him? Both were depositing in size to Jambler at similar times as the 300 Bitty Ross donor received from Jambler. Both had dormant Bitcoin from November of 2019 until the mixer deposits made for April to May of 2025. He added in response to the user's query that everyone was accusing Ross of a self-donation. So if anything, this proves it was a donation and not his secret stash, because there was activity when he was away, locked up in prison. Now, Ulbricht ran Silk Road, which used Bitcoin for payments, until 2013, when he was arrested and sentenced to a double life sentence plus 40 years. In 2015, he served 11 years behind bars until Trump pardoned him officially on Jan 21st. Coinbase director Connor Grogan said in January he found 430 Bitcoin worth 45 million in wallets he claimed tied to Ulbricht. And according to Grogan, the wallets have been inactive for 13 years and were never seized by the authorities. So, I mean, that leads me to believe that there's a very strong probability those are his Bitcoin. And so what? He should, if he was able to hodl during prison God bless him. And, I mean, now he's worth potentially close to $100 million between that $31 million donation. And if he happens to have 430 Bitcoin in this other wallet, and put two and two together. But blockchain analytics firm Arcam backed up Grogan's assessment, tracing 14 Bitcoin addresses connected to the Silk Road, with one holding over 9 million. Allbrick recently held an auction of personal belongings, bringing in 1.8 million. So the dude is now officially rich. You got to respect it. Went from 2.5 life sentences to financially free. Biddy, legend, OG getting praised from 100 million Bitcoiners. I mean, that's the Biddy life for you. The collection included personal effects from before the 2013 arrest, such as a sleeping bag, a backpack, a drum, a prison memorabilia. So hence, if you ever get locked up in prison, save that ID card. You never know. You may get out and get millions of dollars for it one day, like Ross. But anyways, you guys let me know your thoughts. Do you think he donated to himself, or is just an anonymous gift from a Bitcoiner, potentially worth hundreds of millions, potentially billions? You just never know. There's a lot of OGs out. Now, actually, there's not too many OGs, but there's respectably OGs out there who love Ross and what he represents. But this headline, Metaplanet becomes the 8th largest Bitcoin holder with $118 million buy. That's right. Japanese investment company Metaplanet has become the world's 8th largest corporate hodler of the Biddy, continuing its aggressive strategy to promote the Bitcoin adoption across Asia. All I'm saying is this: if Bruce Lee was still alive, he'd be a Bitcoiner. Enter the Dragon, it'd be a Bitcoin fairy tale. I'm just saying, with a little kung fu mixed in between. The company acquired an additional 1,088 of the Biddy at an average price. And I do understand Bruce Lee is Chinese, by the way, so not to get it conflicted. We're talking about a Japanese company, but I'm just saying, Asia for the win. Year of the Dragon was last year, for Christ's sake. Calm down. But anyways, 1,084 per coin for a total of 118 million. The investment firm announced. The latest acquisition pushed Metaplanet's total holdings to over 8,888 BTC. Another divine omen. That means it's going up forever, Laura, making it the world's 8th largest corporate hodler, surpassing Galaxy Digital Holdings of 8,100 and Block Inc.'s 8,485. Take that, evildoers. Large corporate purchases at prices above 100 Gs per Biddy suggest growing institutional confidence in the current bull market cycle. The move comes amid the rising financial uncertainty, particularly in Japan's bond markets. Now, Andre Dragos, head of the European research at Bitwise Asset Management, shared that the ongoing instability could drive the Biddy to the new highs by the year's end. Damn straight it will. Based on today's default probability across the G20 sovereign bonds, it's already above the 200 Gs per Biddy. Government bonds are typically considered safe haven assets. However, when the yields rise sharply, it's often a signal investor concerns about the fiscal sustainability of the repayment risk. Oh no. Bitcoin rose to the all-time high at 112 May 22nd. Don't get her twisted. Before retracing to 104, now 105 at a time at a live. And where's the preload Biddy likely to go next? $1 million question. Place your bets. The consolidation after the all-time high marked a healthy development that can provide sustainability, the foundation for the next leg up, for the leveraged positions, for the reset, spot demand consolidation. Quoting Bitfinex here, Bitcoin's ability to continue to consolidate above the short-term hodler cost basis of around 95,000 remains the key. That's the key, Mr. Miyagi. The coming weeks will likely determine whether the Bitcoin latest breakout was a local high or a prelude to the more aggressive leg higher. And I dare say the best legs in Bitcoin, Max Kaiser, hands down. Meanwhile, some analysts are skeptical. They're concerned about the potential bubble forming around the Bitcoin proxy stocks. One man comes to my mind by the name of Peter Schiffmeister, always fought in the Biddy. And the IMF always fought in the Biddy, expect nothing less. But there you have it, yo. Let me know your thoughts with that as the Bitcoin corporate adoption continues, as the Bitcoin institutional FOMO, like a mofo, continues. Here's the latest from Michael Saylor. Headline reads, strategy ends May with 75 million Bitcoin buy as the price tumbles to 103. But lo and behold, we're right back at 105. That's right. Saylor Strategy, the world's largest corporate hodler of the Biddy, revealed its latest Bitcoin purchase after the price briefly dropped below 103. Strategy acquires 705 Bitcoin. Why so bearish, Michael? For 75 million between May 26th and the 30th. They announced it officially today. The latest purchases were made at an average price of 106.5 per coin, with Bitcoin dropping from 110 last Monday to the intra-week low of 103.4 by the weekend. The purchase purchase marked the company's last Bitcoin buy in May, bringing Strategy's total holdings to 580,955 BTC, acquired for $40.7 billion at an average price of $70,000 per preload biddy, going up forever, Laura. The Bitcoin yield is now 16.9% year to date. Not too shabby. That's actually pretty damn good. So yeah, the latest purchase brought the year to date Bitcoin yield to 16.9%, up 0.1% from the previous 4,020. I mean, if that doesn't tell you happy 420, I don't know what will. The quarter-to-date Bitcoin yield is now 5.4%. Strategy seeks to reach a Bitcoin yield of 25% year-to-date by the end of the year. The company previously targeted a 15% yield, but increased it May 1st. Strategy's new Bitcoin acquisition followed another series of Class A sales by Strategy Director Jared Patton. And according to the Strategy report of the proposed sale of securities filed on May 30th, Patton sold 3,750 shares in the period between May 22nd and the 29th, worth nearly 1.4 milli. Strategy stock, trading under the ticker MSTR, saw downward pressure following the sales, briefly falling below $360 on both May 28th and the 30th. Strategy shares recovered to close last week at $369, but we're trading at 1.6% down in pre-market. Any of you have exposure to MicroStrategy or any MicroStrategy related stock, do let me know. Despite the recent drops, Strategy stocks up 23% year to date with annual gains of 123%. And according to strategy analyst Jeff Walton, Saylor's company is well positioned to become the #1 publicly traded equity company in the entire market one day due to the massive stake of the biddy. And at this time, Strategy owned nearly 581,000 Bitcoin, which is almost 3% of the entire supply, which is literally mind-boggling. And if you don't know, Saylor's going to continue to buy, 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 continue to buy. We should make a song called Continue to Buy, Continue to Buy, Continue to Buy. It's like the little engine that could. Continue to buy, continue to buy, continue to buy, continue to buy. BTFD. Just saying. Next story of the day. This is the big news. Our next two stories here. As you can read in the headline, Russia's largest bank, Sberbank, launches structured bonds tied to Bitcoin. The structured product gives exposure to Bitcoin price changes and US dollar/ruby exchange shifts. If I'm pronouncing that currency right, ruble, ruby, not sure, but it says RUB. Someone clarify that in the chat for me. Max Geyser says smart. On the back of the news, the bonds let holders earn based on two variables, the future performance of the biddy in US dollars and any strengthening of the dollar relative to the ruble. So let's dive a little deeper into this one. Sberbank, Russia's largest bank, has introduced a new structured bond that tracks the price of Bitcoin and the dollar to ruble exchange rate. Initially available over the counter to a limited pool of qualified investors, the bonds let holders earn based on two variables, the future performance of the biddy in US dollars and any strengthening of the dollar relative to the ruble. That's like an oxymoron. Anything stronger than the dollar. That's hilarious. Investors can access the instruments without opening a crypto wallet or using foreign crypto exchanges, with all the transactions being processed in rubles with Russia's legal and infrastructure systems. The bank plans to list similar structured products with crypto exposure on the Moscow exchange, according to the recent announcement. Sberbank, per the announcement, is also launching Bitcoin futures products via the Sberbank Investments platform June 4th, 2 days out, which would be on this Wednesday, aligning with the launch of the product on the Moscow exchange. Game on. The announcement comes just after the Bank of Russia said financial institutions in the country can offer crypto-linked instruments to qualified investors. So there you have it. Again, Max says this is extremely smart. This is the de-dollarization occurring in real time. I mean, also we have the, what is it called? The movement of all the countries coming together, BRICS, of course, and Russia is obviously a part of that. And obviously they're making their moves. We all know the dollar is going to get returned to its original intrinsic value alongside all the fiat currencies, which always do. So game on, another sign of the times, moving away from the dollar. And yeah, I mean, Bitcoin adoption is here to stay. If you don't adopt Bitcoin, you'll get left behind. I mean, yesterday's pod, we discussed, according to Michael Saylor, the Bank of England is on the brink of buying Bitcoin. And if you're not familiar with how evil the Bank of England is, I mean, you can put do the math, but you already know. So everyone's adopting Bitcoin, sign of the times, game theory in full effect. And shout out to your high priest, your holiness, Max Kaiser. I want to give him a special shout out. And also let's go to his wall real quick. I want to point some things out here. Let's check out some of his recent posts. He says sovereigns are figuring out that Bitcoin protects against inflation and instability 100%. Now, also he wrote, and this is quoting the Bit Christ, what does the Bitcoin singularity eat? It eats decrepitude, boredom, death, ugliness, and above all, it eats cheap vulgarity. It eats energy and shits perfect money. I mean, brilliantly put right there. He reposted this. Hold your own keys, have multiple passports, build your own curriculum, birth kids at home, be your own doctor, control your food supply. It takes effort, commitment, and capital to opt out of the broken systems, but it's worth it. That's right. Unplug from the matrix, fam, is ultimately what she's trying to say there. Don't be dependent upon the government whatsoever. And I'll leave you with this. Who wants 2 free tickets to the Max and Stacy pool party? Sign me up, please. Tournament January 8th to the 10th. It's going to be lit, and your boy JV will be there. And make sure to give that a repost for the Max Kaiser and Stacy Herbert. And you already know everything goes to 0 against the pretty little bitty going up forever, Laura. All right, fam. Now for our feature story of the day. Fundstrat's Tom Lee was just interviewed on CNBC and gave his most bullish Bitcoin prediction of all time. He says Bitcoin could easily hit 3 million per coin long term and smash 250,000 before the end of this year. Let's break it down. Shout out Fundstrat's Mr. Thomas Lee. And I got to respect him because he's a very conservative analyst, very conservative. So for 3 million to come out of his mouth, that's a pretty big deal. So let's break this baby down, shall we? Headline here reads, Fundstrat's Tom Lee raises 2025 Bitcoin target to 250 G's, baby, and sets 3 million as the long-term value. That's right. During the interview on Squawk Box, Tom Lee highlighted the Bitcoin recent price swings, which saw the asset plunge from the all-time high, which is currently 112, which was achieved on May 22nd, less than 2 weeks ago. And then we just bottomed out at like 103 earlier today, and we're around 105 at the time of the live. But despite the retracement, Mr. Lee remained optimistic about the asset's prospects, asserting that the Bitty is consolidating around this level. Tell me something I didn't know, Captain Obvious. He suggested the Bitcoin has great stats, given that 95% of the Bitcoin has already been mined. Yeah, let that sink in, family. And for perspective, roughly 20 million Bitcoins, representing around 95% of the Bitcoin maximum supply of the 21 million coins, are currently in circulation. And the final Bitcoin will be minted in the year 2140. So that's like 120 years from now. Wild. And despite nearly all the Bitcoin currently in circulation, and keep in mind, MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy, owns 3% of that supply. BlackRock owns over 3% of that supply. Governments have roughly 3% of the supply. Yeah, I mean, there's literally 4, 5, 6 million Bitcoin stalemated and stagnated, which will never move again. Satoshi's wallet has wallets has roughly 1.1 million of the supply. And I share that just to put in perspective how scarce the Bitcoin asset truly is. Therefore, Tom Lee speculated that more potential buyers could join the Bitcoin revolution bandwagon over the next decade, precisely. And as a result, he predicted Bitcoin has a massive upside potential this year. Couldn't agree more. Notably, Kernan asked him whether he still thinks the Bitcoin will reach the initial forecast. So his initial forecast was 150,000 by the end of the year. But check it. Here's how he responded. Mr. Lee speculated Bitcoin surpasses 150,000 territory and aims for the lofty targets of 200 to 250,000. Achieving the 200 to 250,000 target would require the Bitcoin price to increase by roughly 92 to 140% from the current level. And again, he's a very conservative guy. I dare say that's my bear scenario, as I've been calling each and every day. JV and Nippinator, we're calling 222,000 bear scenario 2025. Mark that right now. Bookmark this stream. And we're calling bear, oh, that was the bear. The base case, 420, of course, for the broskies. And 1.1 million for the bull scenario. Max Kaiser's calling for 2.2 million. Samson Mao's calling for 1 million. Omega Candle, send it. But back to the forecast. When asked to forecast the Bitcoin terminal value after the last Bitcoin is mined, by the year 2140, Lee predicted Bitcoin would at least match gold's valuation of 23 trillion. conservative. I think we're going to blow past gold, and especially 100 years from now, gold might not even be a thing. Gold may be like extinct along with Peter Schiff's bloodline. I'm just saying, there's no telling. And based on the projection, Bitcoin can trade at a minimum of 1.15 million. Why so bearish, Mr. Lee? Assuming only 21 million Bitcoin are in circulation. The use of 20 million Bitcoin rather than maximum 21 million is based on assumptions that the entire total supply will never be in circulation due to the permanent loss. Exactly, I dare say 5 to 6 million. Bitcoin will never move ever, which leaves us down to like potentially 15 million Bitcoin there will ever be in circulation. Then what if people like MicroStrategy have millions of Bitcoin by that time? Do you think he's ever going to sell? I mean, he's made a living saying he's going to buy the top forever and never selling. So you tell me, yo. Further, Lee sets bullish terminal targets for the biddy, forecasting it can soar to 2 to 3 million per preload biddy or even higher. This puts his average terminal target of the biddy at 2.5 milli. Again, very conservative, representing a surge of 2,300 from the current value. And as previously purported, leading asset management giant Van Eck predicts the Bitcoin can rise to 3 milli. In fact, I shared a target of Fidelity's Jurian Timmer, suggesting 1 billion per coin within the next 13 motherfucking years. Let that sink in, which would mean by the year 2038. Could you see that? Holy shit. That would mean the dollar dam already collapsed, and that can happen. I mean, anything's possible. And according to Matthew Siegel, Van Eck's head of digital asset research, Bitcoin will reach 3 million by 2050. Again, extremely bearish, but you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll read your comments out loud. And welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream.